'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house,
Brett,
not a creature was.
Brett.
What?
Wrong holiday. This is
Oh,
Thanksgiving.
This isn't the Christmas show?
No, this is the
Oh,
stats to be thankful for.
okay. All right. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Alrighty, guys. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the top stats that Astros fans should be thankful for in 2021, and this is going to start right now.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Huysman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chancey.
We are Locked On Houston Astros, and we hope that you join us for a daily Locked On Astros podcast. My name is Eric Huysman. You can find me on Twitter at Eric Talk Stros. Find the show at Locked On Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can they find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and Instagram. They can find me at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Always thankful, always Stros.
When you're not trying to skip a holiday, you can go ahead and listen to the Locked On Astros podcast on YouTube and go and subscribe and give us a like, whether you're on your way to do some Christmas shopping, back to Black Friday shopping, wherever you're doing, just go and listen to Locked On Astros podcast on Odyssey, Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening to your podcasts, keep on listening to Locked On Astros podcast. So what we wanted to do, and we're going to do a lot more of this type of stuff closer towards the end of the season, but we want to do something special since a lot of people say we don't look at stats. So we wanted to throw a lot of stats at y'all today and say we wanted to say a lot of stats that we are thankful that made the Astros successful in the 2021 season. And so we're going to talk a little bit about these stats, and some of these are going to be good. Some of these are going to be maybe not so good, but you can't be great in everything. Like the Astros offense during the regular season was great. During the postseason, there was times where it's like, yeah, you could have been a little bit better. So let's go ahead and get it started. So really quickly, the Astros scored the most runs in baseball in a regular season with 863, which was the most in baseball. Are you surprised with that, Brett?
You know, I'm actually not surprised. Now, I know if you're looking at like the Toronto Blue Jays and some of these other juggernauts that scored a lot of runs, the Dodgers, you might be surprised. But if you obviously follow the Astros as closely as we do in the season, it makes sense, Eric. They had guys like Tucker and Alvarez. I mean, they had home run guys, and we'll talk about that. But we had a lot of guys hitting a lot of home runs and getting on base and extra base hits. And so it makes sense because what is the next stat? They had the most hits, the most runs, but they also had the fewest what, Eric?
The fewest strikeout rate. And here comes all the trash can bangers. Oh, well, yeah. That's the reason why you had the trash can banging. And I want to kind of throw in a couple stuff there. You have the lowest strikeout rate, which is I actually deleted it, but it was like 19 points.
It was
19.3% or something like that.
I believe that's correct. It was under 20%, which is impressive, which is unreal.
Yes, and to kind of go along with that, I want to skip down a little bit to the contact percent. The Astros contact percent was 80.6%. And if you're looking at the contact in the zone, they were at 88% contact in zone. And if you're looking at contact percentage outside the zone, it was 68.2%. If you add those two together, that gives you 80.6% contact rate, which was the best on all three of those categories, which means that leads to not striking out as much.
Exactly. And that is key. And that is a testament to not only the hitters, but the hitting coaches, how they prepare this team in spring training, how they deal with them, Alex Centron and company, get this team prepared for a game in and game out. And I know a lot of times I myself as a fan can hyper focus when someone like Carlos Correa or Altuve goes down looking, doesn't swing. And you're like, what are you doing? But when you look at the overall team makeup, and like you said, the 80.6% contact rate, that's unbelievable. That is huge. They also had over a they had over 100 WRC plus. Okay, they were 116, Eric, and WRC plus, which was 3 points over the Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays had a bombastic lineup, a young, powerful, just lineup that just went out there and crushed the ball. And you love seeing this, Eric. Now, when you talk about this batting average they had at 267 for the year, can you imagine if the '05 team that went to the World Series and got swept by the White Sox, can you imagine if they had this offense? The White Sox wouldn't have stood a chance. The White Sox would have been the team getting swept. And that's why I think at times when you look at this offense, it makes it so hard of a pill to swallow that we got beat by the Braves, who, and we'll talk later, World Series stats. But what a fun year to sit and watch baseball. Coming back, fans came back this year. We're thankful for that. But just these guys put in the work and they grind and they produce results.
Going off the 339 on base percentage, which was the highest in baseball. The Astros did. This is kind of negative, but they were the fourth in double grounding into double plays with 136. And we've talked about this several times. I thought they would be higher, but the Nationals have 158. The Yankees have 154. The White Sox have 139. The Astros had 136. What do you notice about all of those teams? With the exception of maybe the Nationals. They're all pretty good teams.
Yeah, no, yeah, they were all good team. I mean, the Yankees had their struggles, and they're the Yankees, but they do have Odor and Gallo, but they've got some very good hitters. DJ LeMahieu, a league MVP type player. Aaron Judge, Stanton, and they've got some other guys. Gary Sanchez got hot there. Some odd times. Gardner kind of was your dependable guy here or there. They've got a cast of characters who can hit. But the Astros, Eric, just made the league like notice they don't have to have anything to help them to be successful at the plate.
Yeah.
You know,
And it's just amazing how the Nationals have that 337 on base percentage, and they ground in all those double plays, and they were 65 and 97 on the season. The Astros had basically the same numbers, and they were, I mean, I guess they grounded into fewer double plays, but I guess it just shows how baseball is baseball. You can never really know what happened. So the WRC plus is something that the Astros were once again high on, which 116, and the Blue Jays were 113.
yeah,
So
no,
go
yeah,
explain that.
no. Well, so basically, what you have is you have a it's weighted runs created.
Created
Okay, and so what it is they're considering all the factors. They're considering the
the ballpark,
field,
the
the
field.
ballpark, the dimensions, everything is involved there. And the baseline is 100. So anything above 100. So if the league average is 100 and you're 16% over that, you're
So if you're 100,
16%.
you're a good player.
If you're 100, if you're at 150, you're 50% better than pretty much the rest of the league. So the Astros were 16% better than the rest of the league, and considering that is a team stat, you've got your Maldonados, you've got your guys that drag that down, right? But
Technically,
you've
the
got
center
a
fielders, even though that
yeah,
they
yeah, no, and they actually hit pretty decently, but you've got that 1 through 7, Eric, that was so powerful. I mean anybody in this lineup could have hit leadoff at any day of the week and been successful in that spot, and any of them could have hit fourth or seventh, and they just raked. They absolutely raked this year, and it was dude so fun to watch. It when you think about the great things that happened, it makes you hate the fact that we're in the off season right now.
Yeah, for sure. So it's amazing looking at these stats. Like the Astros had a 33.9 WAR offensively, and the WRC was 877 compared to the Blue Jays 864. You're gonna hear the Blue Jays a lot because the Blue Jays were nipping at their tails a lot because the Blue Jays have a lot of young hitters, and you
I'm
just
yeah,
imagine how good that team would have been if you had a healthy George Springer. And it
I'm
just go ahead.
I'm surprised they didn't make it into the playoffs. They
Yeah.
really they really fumbled the ball on the goal line. They weren't this close, and this may be painful for Houston football fans to recall, but I remember when the when the Oilers became the Titans and then went to the Super Bowl,
Hmm.
and they missed winning the Super Bowl because they reached for the goal line and they barely missed the goal line. They got tackled. The Rams won, and I mean the Blue Jays were right there. I
Yeah,
mean they were right there with like 2 or 3 weeks left, and they just crapped the bed. And you I
it's
was, and you and I were
yeah,
talking, like we feared the Blue Jays more than anybody because
right.
they were so good offensively.
It's like, at leleast you tried. Here's a box of Belt Bars. So
No,
tell
yeah,
us a little bit
definitely.
about Built Bar.
So, Built Bars are amazing. They are protein bars that are wrapped in 100% chocolate. They're delicious. They're low in calorie. They don't have a ton of sugar. They have maybe 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of carbs. So whether you're like on the keto diet or you're just trying to watch what you eat or maintain your weight or even lose it, Built Bar is the best place to go. So go to built.com this week. There's this Black Friday special. Be checking that out. Surprises all this month. I got a sample box in the mail since I'm a host, and the sample box has all kinds of Built Puffs and options, new flavors that are coming out. And so let's go to built.com right now together and use the promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off your order. Use the promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 15% off at built.com. And if you're betting, oh, okay.
No, we're not going to be betting right now, Brett. You know what we are going to be doing is talking about Alvarez crushing the ball and the Astros crushing the ball as a team
That's
because they
right.
were second in hard hit balls with 1,800 to Toronto, those freaking Blue Jays with 1,817. And they were second with a weighted OBA on base average with 336 to the Blue Jays with 340. So the Blue Jays were kind of ahead of us in some categories, but you can't be first in every category, especially with as good as the Blue Jays were.
So
But
is that 18? So for those listening, is that 1,800 balls that they hit
yeah,
hard?
mhm,
Okay, okay. Because when you said 1,800, I just want to make sure those of y'all that are listening or watching, you know exactly what we're talking about. So 1,800 of the baseballs hit were hard hit balls. That's awesome. And that second in WOBA is nothing to be frowned upon because, like you said, this Blue Jays lineup, and I'm telling you, they are 1 or 2 players away from really making a splash. And I mean, they've got the Red Sox, who got no intentions of quitting. I think next year the Yankees are maybe going to retool, but they look like they're kind of sitting ducks right now. And so the Blue Jays make that an even more fun division along with the Rays going into 2022.
yeah, and that could have also been the White Sox. I didn't also type that in for some reason, but it doesn't matter. The Astros finished second to somebody, so you know why the Astros did so good. 33 home runs by Alvarez, and he was one of the Astros to hit 30 home runs this year for somebody being less than 24 years old. Also, Alex Bregman's done it in past, and also Mr. Kyle Tucker has done it this year as well. So this is somebody who, yeah, did I say it right?
What?
Yeah, the age of 24. Yes, I said it right.
Yeah, so basically, how many 30 home run guys do we have? Do we have 4 or 5 this year?
Oh, I didn't actually write down all the
Oh, that's
people.
okay because I believe Altuve, Correa, if I'm not mistaken, you look that up while we're on. Alvarez, Tucker, and who am I missing? Was there only 4 that hit 30 home runs plus? If you want to look that up, I'll go into this real quick. You can tell me. Michael Brantley, Eric, only struck out 10.4% of the time. The professional hitter himself, and what a great thing to have him back for at least one more season. I really hope they find a way to keep him around. If they
Yeah.
don't, I think they're going to move some guys around. If they sign like a Marte, they'll slide him to left and bring up Pedro Leon to center. But man, wouldn't it be great to keep Brantley as long as he's a serviceable hitter?
Well, as long as he wants to stay, but the Astros aren't going to pay a lot of money. They're going to keep on paying him what they seem to keep on signing him for the same contract. But it was just Alvarez, Altuve, and Tucker. So it was,
Okay, so there were only 3. For
yes.
some reason, I thought there were 4 or 5. I don't know why I
No,
thought that.
it was
Okay,
Correa was 26, and then you have a
okay.
big drop off from there to Gurriel with 15,
Okay,
and then
because
McCormick
because
with
Bregman
15.
because
Yeah.
Bregman Bregman missed a significant part of the season. Okay, all right. I don't know, for whatever reason, I had that in my mind seeing 5. Okay, but say 3 is not bad. 30 home run hitters is not bad. And the home runs that Altuve hit this year, Eric, were huge.
Yeah, there's a reason why I didn't list the stats slugging. There's a reason I didn't list home runs is because the Astros weren't a very big home run hitting team this year.
That's true.
They still were pretty high in OPS with where did I put it? I thought I put it somewhere, but they were still pretty high with on base percentage. I mean OPS on base plus slugging, but they still didn't have a lot of home runs this year. So it was just kind of weird season where you still did good, but you had a lot more doubles and some triples versus home runs this year. Just because I don't know why, but what was kind of funny was your leader in stolen bases was Miles Straw, and Miles Straw got traded at a trade deadline, and the second was Kyle Tucker. This team needs a guy that can steal some bases. I know that with a full season and getting on base a little bit more, Kyle Tucker could steal some more bases, but Starlin Marte could fit that
Oh, definitely. No, he
so
does.
could Trevor Story.
Yeah. But when you think about stolen bases, you think about Marte before you think about Story.
Oh, yeah.
What is Story's stolen bases last year?
20,
Do we know? Okay, but how many did Marte steal?
40 or
Yeah,
36 or
I
something
think
off
I,
the
I
top of
think I
my
like
head.
47. I think he doubled that. So yeah, Story's not your stolen
No, he's
bases
not
go-to
yours.
guy.
He's the Kyle Tucker. He's what Kyle Tucker can do. He
Right.
can like once Tucker gets confident at stealing bases, he's going to steal 20 bases too. So and Brantley, speaking of Brantley, he has a 10.4 strikeout percentage.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
I thought you mentioned that. I just wanted
yeah.
to kind of bring that. But Yuli got the batting title, but not only that, but he finished. He led the Astros with a 319 batting average. Of course, actually, Siri or somebody finished with no. It was somebody who only played a few games. It was Degotti. He only played a few games, but I'm not going to give him credit for winning the
Yeah,
batting.
you've gotta qualify for this batting. You can't just play 5 games and
Yeah,
be the batting champ of the season.
yeah,
That's why for these awards, you have to play so many games
right.
to be considered. So,
Right, and then he also finished first in the on base percentage with a 383 on base percentage,
yeah.
and the slugging has to go. You would think Alvarez, but it actually went to Tucker with a 557.
But see, that
And
makes sense. Outside of the first month of the season, Kyle Tucker was he would have been top 5 MVP candidate had he been hot all season long. And it was all about his stance, and Blummer talked about it when he changed his stance at the plate. He was actually making the contact that wasn't the balls weren't going straight to the fielder. They were
right.
hitting the holes in the field, and that's when things went up for him.
I know it's a small sample size, but I wanted to list that Jose Siri did have a 609 slugging percentage, and that's what he finished the season with. And he also had a 160 WRC plus.
Now,
But
what's his K rate? Did
it's
he strike
probably
out a lot?
pretty up there. I did not
Wasn't
actually
it
mark that
wasn't it
down.
wasn't it famine or feast with Jose Siri?
Yes, it was.
And so,
So
but here's the thing: Jose Siri was a spark plug. Jose Siri came in, and when he was called upon to do something, a lot of times he showed up. And it wasn't just his bat; it was his fire, it was his vigor, it was his enthusiasm that fits so well on this team. And that to me is why you get someone. Someone's like, well, why would you sign Starling Marte? Why would you spend that money? Well, because this is a guy that really Eric, this is a guy that really wants to be here. And this is a guy that's got a fire and he's fast. He's a spark plug. And Jose Siri has value now, Eric. And if they don't hold on to him, he could be a trade piece in the offseason or next year if they need to go get some more relief pitching and they get Starling.
all right, number 5 in the Astro strikeouts behind the pitchers was Robel Garcia with a 35.9 strikeout percentage. Number 6 was Jose Siri with a 34.7 strikeout
Yeah, I
percentage.
figured his percentage was pretty high.
Chaz McCormick was number 7 with a 32.5%. Then Jake Myers was a 30.7. Then you have Jason Castro with 30.2. Then Martin Maldonado 29.8. And I could keep on going,
Yeah, no, that's okay.
but Yordan Alvarez was number 13 with a 24.2 strikeout percentage.
Yeah, there were several times at the plate where it looked like, I don't know if it was his timing, I don't know if it was the pitches he was getting or not getting, but he's typically disciplined and really selective at the plate. His strikeout numbers went up a little bit this year. I think that's something in the offseason someone like him's going to work on, because every time I hear these baseball veterans commentate on the game, whether they're former players or like, Tom Verducci or Buster Olney, any of these guys that are commentators or come in and they join MLB Network and they talk about Alvarez. They talk about how smart of a hitter he is, how good, how he can hit a ball to left field if he needs to, how he can go for the home run, how he's okay with the single, moving the runner over. And I think a lot of people have picked up on the value of Yordan Alvarez, who I think is still learning how to hit. Just like I think Michael Brantley probably still is a student of hitting and why he's so good.
What do you think people throw him the most?
Well, when there's two strikes, they throw him a curveball.
Well, actually in 2020, well, I don't know about that, but I know that he gets thrown a fastball 47.4% of the time. Sorry, never mind. I take that back. That's a fly ball. I take that back. I'm looking at the wrong thing, but he hits a fly ball 47.4% of the time. I'm silly. He hits a ground ball 26.3% of the time. And I was
Yeah,
looking at the wrong stat.
that's okay. He is a fly ball hitter. And I can tell you this, the scouting report, if I was an opposing coach, I would say you need to give Yordan Alvarez 2 high pitches inside, okay? Get him to swing under it, and then throw him a hook, throw him a curveball down and away, and he's going to swing and he's going to miss it every single time. Especially if it's lefty on lefty, you're going to throw him that curveball. It's going to go dive away from him, and he's not going to make contact with it. Now, if you throw a fastball down the inside of the plate, he's going to golf it. If you don't get that fastball high enough, he's going to crush it. So he does a good job contacting the balls in the zone, but once you get 2 strikes on him, throw him a hook, throw him a curveball, you're going to get a swing and miss almost every time.
Yeah, they do throw a fastball to him a lot of time, and then the second most is a slider. Appears so.
Slider or curve, yes. Just
Yeah.
anything moving down and away for him is like kryptonite for Yordan Alvarez.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's go back to Alvarez. That he does. He leads the Astros in hard hit with 54.2% hard hit. So
Oh yeah,
you can kind of see that, and you can kind of bet on that kind of increasing in the future. And maybe Kyle Tucker, him and Kyle Tucker kind of competing for the home run title. Even though I think Alvarez is better. And speaking of betting, let's talk about BetOnline.ag.
so we're back and better than ever with a new web interface to start the basketball season and more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for basketball and football action this season. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code Locked On to receive your bonus from basketball, football, baseball, postseason, offseason, NHL, boxing, UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.
And guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, keep on liking and keep on subscribing and keep on listening on your way to work on Odyssey, Apple, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Keep on listening to Locked On Astros podcast. And to kind of close out Alvarez, he had a WRC plus for the season of 138 and a
There you
3.7
go.
WAR according to Fangraphs. So
No, that's awesome. And here's the thing. He's not gone and gotten his big contract, okay? When you have a big contract like Alex Bregman, let me just tell you this. Alex Bregman, for him to have the value that he signed for in his contract, needs to average between 4 and 5 WAR for the next 3 or 4 seasons. And I don't know that that's going to happen, Eric.
right.
And that's something we need to talk about future in the offseason. I'm wondering, does Alex Bregman need to be an Astro for a long time? And I've got some ideas about Alex Bregman that may not be popular with our fan base, but that WAR number popped in my head that you just said, and I was like, oh gosh, he's
Where's that
still
mute
young.
button? Where's that mute button? Oh, there it is. All
I'm
righty.
just saying the WAR numbers are important for us to pay attention to, because when the CBA comes up, they're going to start attaching WAR to, well,
Maybe,
maybe okay.
maybe.
Well, here's the thing: they're considering it,
Right.
so it's becoming more and more
Don't
interesting
put the cart before
about.
the horse. But
Okay,
yeah,
well, no, I'm not. I'm just, those numbers are going to become prevalent, and whether
yeah.
they make it that or not. Anyways, I'm just saying these players need to have between 4 and 5 WAR for them to be of value and of worth to a team, no matter who they are, no matter who they play for.
All right. So I was looking at the defensive WAR, and you would think
Okay,
that Carlos Correa had the highest defensive WAR.
he
It was
didn't.
actually Martin Maldonado
I
with
was gonna say,
11.9.
I was gonna say, if it's not him, it's got to be Machete.
Yeah, he had 11.9 WAR, but Carlos Correa had the overall highest WAR with 5.8. So that was pretty good there. And overall, let's go and switch to the pitching. So overall, the Astros starting pitchers, they didn't do as bad as we think they did. They had the second. They were second to the Oakland A's in terms of innings pitched with 881 and 2/3 innings to 894 to
Okay.
the A's. So we complained about the Astros rotation going into the season, but they still pitched a heck of a lot more innings than any other team out there outside of the
No,
A's.
no, yeah, and I mean, I think the starters got a bad rap because,
There's no
I mean,
Justin Verlander. Yeah.
we had injuries. We had Valdez go down.
No
We had
Urquidy. Yeah.
Yeah, we had Noah Urquidy. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on.
You had
And then
your boy Odorizzi.
yeah, he's why has he got to be my boy? Anyways, that's okay, Robel Garcia. But I digress. The starters we know did not go for very long
Right.
in a stretch
In
of games. They
playoffs. Yeah.
got better. But Eric, they had a 46% ground ball rate, which was sixth best in baseball. And so when they did induce the hits, they were ground balls. They weren't giving up the fly balls. And one of the questions I think that we need to ask going into next season about Justin Verlander is, has he fixed his fly ball issue? Because you remember the last time he pitched. Now, granted, his last full season he won the Cy Young, but he gave up a lot of home runs. Remember that?
Yes, and something that if you ask a lot of those analytical people out there, is you would say, well, the Astros starters had a 3.63 ERA, which was fifth best in baseball. But if you look at the FIP, which was 4.07, that was 12th best in baseball. And the expected FIP was 4.08, which was the 18th best in baseball.
So
That,
their pitchers did good, but they could have been better, is what you're saying.
Well, yeah, but they shouldn't have actually pitched as good. They actually pitched better than they should have.
Okay, okay, that
May
makes sense. Okay,
Yeah.
makes sense.
So yeah, they actually they're lucky in a way, so to speak. So I think that they allowed a lot of hits. They allowed a lot of walks this year. We saw Lance McCullers walk way too many batters. Yeah,
Walks were
walks
way
were
up.
up this year, and I didn't look to see where they fit in terms of walks, but they were like way low. I didn't want to put that on this podcast, but overall, the starters had a 13.3 WAR, which was 10th in MLB, which is not bad considering there's no Justin Verlander. You didn't really have a dominant Zach Greinke all year. You didn't have Framber Valdez for what, a good 2 months or
Yeah.
so. Jose Urquidy was MIA for most of the season. So
So here's what I say about this whole, we're talking about these metrics and these stats, and we know people in our circle that are really, really driven by stats. We know Major League Baseball is driven by the metrics. But at the end of the day, Eric, um, the metrics are great and the metrics are awesome to know, but the team still has to play, right? The
right.
team still has to go out there. And so when the Braves and the Astros got to the World Series, the Braves didn't go, oh, you know what? We're not supposed to win this because we only won 88 games, and you guys had the fewest strikeouts, and you guys had this and that. You still have to go out and play the game. So we can analyze and break down analytics and XFIP and FIP and WOBA and WOBAC and all this stuff all we want to. But at the end of the day, it's what have you done for me lately? What are you doing in the game now? I don't care what your barrel percentage is. Did you hit a ball out of the park that helped you win the game? That's what matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
These are great. Now, another thing is these stats a lot of times don't tell you projectability either. Okay. They don't tell you like the projection of what a player is going to actually do. And so I love metrics, but at the same time, I don't necessarily hang on them like everybody else does because I'm sorry, you still have to play the game. Things can still be different. Things don't always have to go like if you're a 30% strikeout guy, that doesn't mean in that game you could go 4 for 4 and be a 30% strikeout guy. You see what I'm saying? Do you see the point that I'm making? Like I think it's great to focus on it, but there are other things like actually playing the game that I think mean just as much.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. And so, yeah, so we can kind of talk about all that too. But a lot of stuff that one thing I do want to focus on is that the Astros were the fifth best in terms of home runs allowed with a 1.15 home run per 9 innings
It's
from the
good.
starters. That's good, but that wasn't the case in the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're right. No, that was definitely a little bit higher on the
Yeah.
higher side.
And they were 77% left on base rate, which was the third best in baseball. The Dodgers were 79.2 and the Blue Jays were
Wow.
77.1. So there was some good news from the Astros starters. So the Astros didn't really need to go out and get Justin Verlander. I mean, their Sierra was 4.25, which was 14th best, but they're just a lot of things that,
I
yeah,
right. I agree with you to an extent. I more agree with you to the
the
extent that
Verlander's for the playoffs.
well,
Yeah.
I'm more with you because the more I think about the contract, the more I'm like, oh, that second year player option is I know it's 8 million less per year than what we were giving him when he was injured. But man, if he doesn't perform this next year, and then he's like, oh, you know what? I want to be an Astro again. They're on the hook for 25 mil. So,
You had to do
and
that to get him away from the Yankees.
that's true. That's true. And the Yankees are balking on a lot of things. Something I think is going on behind the scenes with those guys. But at the end of the day, oh, get this, Eric. I'm gonna throw you a little curveball. Trevor Plouffe on Talking Baseball said that the Astros are in active talks with Kevin Kiermaier. Now, I haven't heard anybody talk about that. Okay. I heard it on Talking Baseball. I caught a little blurb. I actually sent him a message trying to get him to respond. But the Astros would be in on Kevin Kiermaier. That would be a trade, wouldn't it?
This is the first time you've mentioned it to me. So
Yeah. So anyway, so at the end of the day, Eric, when we look at the Astros pitching, and I'll get us back on topic. Sorry, I just chased a rabbit there. Their WHIP was tied for sixth with 1.19. Their curveball percentage was 16.2%, which was fourth in the league. Their changeup percentage was 15.7, which is seventh in the league.
that would
Um,
be via trade. Yeah.
yeah.
He's
Okay.
on
Yeah. Via
team
trade.
control for 2 more years, 12.1 and 13 million
And
with
the
the team
Rays,
option.
the Rays will definitely want probably more than what he's worth because of the team control. So I digress. We can address that if something ever comes of it. I was just Trevor Plouffe mentioned it on a podcast, and so I thought it was interesting. But Lance is coming back, Eric, and the pitches he went to this year is the reason you see the uptick in the changeup right there. Because he
Yeah.
said his changeup is his go-to pitch now, where the curveball was his go-to pitch prior to TJ. And he actually had the luxury of having 10.26 Ks per 9 inning. And, Lance McCullers, you hated seeing him go down for the World Series because he pitched his butt off during the regular
Right.
season, and he was ready. And he's like, "I'm your guy.
Yeah.
I'm the guy." And gosh, you hate. He's such a good human being. off the field. So,
Well,
yeah.
hey guys, we were able to do this without going into the dreadful World Series stats that we had pulled up. So you can be thankful for that. And on that note, guys, have a great Thanksgiving and spend some time with your family. We're going to take a couple days off and enjoy our family as well. And we'll be back hopefully with some Astros news over the weekend on Sunday and just get back to the off season. Just remember, Locked on Astros will be locked on the Astros literally all off season. And
That's
Brett,
right.
you got any final words?
I just want to say that I'm thankful for my family. I'm just thankful for my health and thankful that I'm gonna be like a grandfather now pretty soon. I'm thankful that you brought me on the show a couple years ago. My 2 year anniversary is coming up. I think like next January, and so I'm just thankful for all the fan interaction we've had, at the stadium, Eric. And I know next year we look forward to meeting more people. So thank you from the bottom of our hearts and Locked on Astros. And we pray that you and your family have a happy, healthy, and great Thanksgiving. Whether you're traveling or staying home, do it well, eat a lot, watch football, do your thing with Thanksgiving. And thank you so much for being a part of Locked on Astros Nation.
All right, guys, that's all we got for this edition. Have a great weekend, and we'll be back next week. And go Stros, and happy Thanksgiving.